So today's video, we're going to be looking at Tenpai Dragon Genroku. Most people that, heard about this card, have seen this card, they just think, hey, oh, Tenpai just got a new extender. They got basically a Papa, that's Genroku. Essentially, the deck is the same, but a little bit better. But let me ask you this. How much better did Tenpai get with just the addition of this Genroku card? That's what we're going to be focusing on today's updated profile on Tenpai. I'm going to give you guys like a quick list. Just right here, we have the 3 Paidra Chandra and the 2 Fadra. Not too much to explain there. Nothing really changed here, so I'm doing like the full overcap view of the deck rather than the card for card. The Genroku and the Dora are the key cards that are changed in the deck. Dora does open up several different lines you can try out. It's a 1-card OTK by itself, but, we just want to play because this one only activates on normal summon. Genroku provides you with a Tuner 4 or Tuner 3 and a non-tuner. Basically, it just functions as everything that you want in the deck, especially when you want to pivot into specific different kinds of monsters. 1 Bestial, because you can search for any of your dragons. And then, of course, your hand trap lineup. I think you just change this based off of what you're comfortable with. I think you can even try out DD Crow for that matter, or even main deck the Shifter. But when you main deck Shifter, of course, you run into the issue where you can't kill your opponent because you don't know your own Shifter lines. So if you're going to main deck it, know your lines. And then Prosperity, Droplet, Kaimen, Summoning, Terraforming, 1 Lightning Storm, 1 Duster. You could switch it into like a double up if you want, but I'm just mainly using 1 and 1, so I don't double Lightning Storm. Extra deck wise, Striker Dragon, Heretic Seal, Dark, Hita, SP, Promethean. This is a proxy, by the way. I think the other one's in the Fiendsmith deck, and also the there's another deck I have, my Chimera deck. And then for the rest of it, there's the Samurai Destroyer. The level 7 non-tuner Synchro dragons can now be utilized into a Synchro play, which would lead to your Synchro 10s, which is really, really good. And there is the Biden Dragon, and the Trident Dragon, and the Tenpai Transcendent Dragon. These are all just like the staple stuff. Nothing too much here, but let's look into why this card is good. And so these are all the cards that are capable of searching out Genroku. I'm not gonna do like basic Tenpai combos. If you want to watch basic Tenpai combo, go to the older video, but we're only focusing on everything that Genroku has to offer, so I can cover it with a little bit more depth. So Kaimen into Genroku can get you a Genroku summon in the main phase, which is good, so this is always good, but this is also summonable during the draw phase, so you can go into Genroku, do the quick effect tribute, go into Paidra, set up the summoning, and you're not going to get locked under Droll for your first play, and you can still OTK under that Droll, which is what it has to offer. Of course, summoning can also get out the Genroku. Same deal. Essentially, just use this to get yourself an additional body. So if you need a tuner like Chandra, this can now facilitate that tuner, and you can still play the Chandra. So it doubled up on your tuner plays as well as your non-tuner plays, because when it comes back from the graveyard, it's no longer a tuner. But this also provides you with a level 3 or 4 tuner, so that your level 7 Synchros now also can be synchro into a level 10 dragon, which is very powerful. Magnamhut plus this obviously can synchro into the 10, and the funny thing is you can Magnamhut end phase search into the Genroku get the summon, and it's also a 4, so at the start of your turn immediately convert this entire card into the Synchro 10, which is another play you have at your disposal. And not to mention, you can sack your opponent as well with a Pot of Prosperity. You reveal 6 and you get to a Genroku. You can add Genroku and get a summon, so now Prosperity turns into a summon as well. So that's why it's kind of annoying. And Dora, not to mention Dora, you can go Dora, add the Genroku, get the summon. Now you have a set level 4 tuner and a level 3 monster giving you the Synchro 7. And then you can summon back the Genroku, which is also pretty funny. And then you can Synchro with the Biden Dragon into the 10, and that's pretty silly. Or instead of immediately using it, you use the Genroku effect, you just get rid of it, and then you summon out Paidra, right? So let me just showcase what I mean with that. So starting off with the Dora line, normal summon out Dora effect, add the Genroku into hand. With the Genroku added to hand, reveal summon itself onto the field, and change this to a level 4 tuner. Immediately upon that, you can perform a Synchro summon into a Biden Dragon. And this is all even better if you have Sangan Summoning. Biden Dragon effect, summon back the Genroku effect, you can tribute it now, and now you can summon out Paidra. Where's my Paidra? Yeah, here's the Paidra. Summon out Paidra. Paidra effect can get you the Kaimen into your hand, okay? And then you just synchro these two into the 10. Transcendent Dragon. Okay, go to battle phase. They can't respond. Activate Kaimen. I think usually you know what happens when these two come together before you even enter battle phase. It usually leads to an OTK. And don't forget that you can destroy this. Your Biden Dragon's already in the graveyard, so you can push pretty hard on this. And if you have the field spell already, then it means you can double up the attack and just try to go for game. So that is what the normal summon of Dora has to offer into the Tenpai deck. So I'm sure you've heard of the Kaimen during the draw phase into Genroku into Paidra. Like, when should you actually do it? Like, what's the benefit? So why don't we just play it out? So draw phase, activate the Kaimen. Ideally, you would probably want a Chandra or a Fadra in your hand to follow up, because you don't have to burn a normal summon, for instance. But anyways, let's start off with the Kaimen. Kaimen into the Genroku. Genroku effect is now going to activate, and that's going to cause the summon of Genroku. We're going to use the quick effect of Genroku, summon out Paidra onto the field. Paidra effect, the whole point of doing this, number one, is to kind of work around a potential Droll and Lockbird, considering that Droll is pretty rampant in the format. And so you can get yourself a Sangan summoning onto the board basically before you even go into your main phase, so that your first action should be just to flip over the Sangan summoning for the most part. All right. What you shouldn't do, however, is that if you have a Lightning Storm in your hand and you need to clear the board first, then you're gonna have to judge whether or not the Lightning Storm is worth it to make this play, or maybe you want to eat into a different hand trap. All right. These are some of the restrictions, some of the risks that you may need to take, but of course it's hand dependent. But in most cases, this is usually pretty safe, considering that once you get Sangan summoning on board and you don't need to activate the card, you're in a really good spot. Like, it really threatens your opponent's board presence the moment you drop that card and you don't need to activate it. So if you have the Chandra, you can activate the Chandra to attempt to summon it. If they're using like Appaloosa, well, they might try to stop you, but then you still normal summon the card, go into battle phase, and well, once you get into battle phase in this kind of position, it's pretty good. However, they could still disrupt you during, say, the battle phase. So in other instances, what you want to try is you want to maybe activate the Chandra, or if you have a spare card in your hand. So I'm saying I have an Ash in my hand that is a spare. What if I wanted to use the Sangan summoning and get rid of this and just add a Fadra into hand? Attempt to summon out Chandra. See, the summon of Chandra is good, but you're still not feeling all too safe. Then you can proceed to just normal summon out the Fadra effect. You're still protected under Sangan summoning. You can summon back your Genroku. Remember, you are technically dragon locked the moment you use Genroku's effect, all right? And now you can proceed to perform yourself the first Synchro summon, which is into Biden Dragon. Biden Dragon now can summon back your Chandra. You need to maintain an additional tuner on the field, just so that when you battle with the Chandra, or whether you battle with any monster and get into the damage step with Chandra, you can summon out one more dragon so you can perform one last really big Synchro. Then you can take the Biden Dragon just to make sure that there's no interruption during the battle phase into Transcendent Dragon, and then you proceed to battle phase from there. This field spell is no longer needed. It's just there to boost the attack of your Trident Dragon. So when you declare an attack with whatever that you want, you probably just want to summon out Paidra so that you don't take any further damage. They don't have any interaction. They can't stop you. You can perform your next 7, your next 10. It's pretty insane how far you can really push this. You can even let this get destroyed later on and just summon it back onto the field. It's ridiculous. Unless they have some form of removal in the battle phase, you can definitely just clear out this card and just bring it back from the graveyard. Just declare 3 attacks. Now you get another pop onto the field, and you can lock out the field again. Not to mention get the double attack. So then you have Magnamhut, which also got infinitely better and infinitely faster. I think everything about what Genroku did to the deck is that all your other phases got better. You get to repeat an additional level 4 tuner onto the field that turns itself off. So for Magnamhut, say you activated Magnamhut and you target a light or dark monster, summon itself out, activate the effect during the end phase, you add Genroku into your hand because you turned Bestial Magnamhut into a tour guide almost, and you can summon out Genroku onto the field. Right? You add to your hand, summon it onto the field. And this thing doesn't have any sort of restriction. If this card is added to hand except by drawing it, you can special summon this card as a tuner. So it comes out as a level 3 tuner, right? But it also can increase its level by 1. So now you have a level 4 tuner. You can keep that on the field and it'll keep its level. This is not till the end of the turn. So at the start of your turn, you can just immediately just synchro into Transcendent Dragon. wow, that was really easy. And if you have the field spell already, just play the field spell. Everything here leads up into like, hey, all the other phases are just so much better with Genroku, and everything kind of became an E-Telly. You have a Poplar in your deck. Yes, that does make sense. That's what they always call it. This is the Poplar of the deck. Except that it also functions like a Fiendsmith Requiem, where you can just tag out into some of your other, named Tenpai Dragon cards. So just a very, very powerful deck overall. Now, as a Tenpai player, from time to time, there are going to be moments where you're going to go into a Black Rose Moonlight Dragon or a Utility 7 like a Koi Bell to destroy some card on the field that's really preventing you from hitting that OTK. But these things come at the cost of not giving out enough damage during the damage step, during the battle phase, because they just hit once, they don't recur themselves, and essentially they can't go into your Synchros. But that's no longer an issue. They bridged it thanks to the Genroku. So once you get to a point in the main phase where you made these monsters, you cleared out some of the problematic stuff, using any of these cards, you can start bridging into the Genroku, and then you can use Genroku's add effect to summon itself out. Now, when you summon itself out, it summons itself as a tuner, but it doesn't necessarily have to turn into level 4. You can keep it as level 3. The level 4 level increase is optional. So now you have a level 3 tuner that is also a dragon, and now you can perform a Synchro summon into a more useful, battle phase dragon, such as, Sangenpai Transcendent Dragon or the Trident Dragon. And I think that's all I really want to talk about regarding Genroku. There's a lot of different lines you can definitely try out, but it doesn't really take too much to figure them out on the spot. And with that being said, 2 cards that you need to be aware of that people will be using against you: Rise to Full Height and the Black Goat Laughs. These cards are pretty insane because Beatrice is a thing. Rise to Full Height, you can expect that everyone that is playing a Fiendsmith package will include 1 copy of this to deal with you. Alright? And so you need to somehow get rid of this card before it, hits the graveyard. Because once it hits the graveyard, it's going to be a very tough time. One way to do it is that if they load it into the graveyard during their own turn, having a DD Crow crowing this card away is probably one of your best bets to not get your turn skip, buying back a whole turn. So Crow is probably worth it for the most part. Also works against Lurie of all things. So Crow probably would be one thing that you would see on the side. Additionally, you would probably play Dimensional Shifter because they can't put these cards into the graveyard, which could really stun you out. Now, as for Black Goat Laughs, I made a mistake of calling out Chandra and not letting the summon of Chandra come onto the field, but Genroku completely bypasses that and gives you the level 4 tuner anyway. And if they have, Sangen summoning, they can just throw Chandra into the graveyard and they can still revive the Chandra and get the effects of Chandra through that method. So this probably should be hitting Bident Dragon. If you get your Bident Dragon hit, it's very difficult to deal that massive amount of damage. Not only did you lose like 5,700 worth of, 5,400 worth of damage, you also lost the reviving of the monster in the graveyard and the pop and whatever that monster was going to lead into. So it could also hinder your Synchro 10. And that is a very, very big limitation when, this is activated on the field, preventing you from summoning out Bident Dragon. And one more card I can kind of talk about is because people are choosing to play Fucho, you're going to need something to out that. That card is just a big menace against you. And remember, every single time they're trying to do something against this Tenpai deck, it's always some level of turn skipping. Like, hey, I'm going to make sure that your battle phase is garbage. Oh, hey, I'm going to make sure that you have no battle phase. So sometimes you're just going to have to give them a Santa Claus. You probably should have some level of removal against cards like Fucho. Otherwise, post game 2 and 3, it's going to be a very, very rough time for you to play. All right. And sometimes if you're stuck going first, Kawaki Miru Drago can also lock your opponent out so that they're stuck not being able to summon out lights and dark monsters, which is also really fantastic, and it's also a really strong monster. It's not like that hard to prevent yourself from revealing a dragon monster, keeping it alive. It's just one thing that you can kind of pivot into from your Hieratic Seal. So Hieratic Seal is one of your key monsters, and I guess one ruling thing for you guys that I want to just kind of close out this video, round it out, is like once you use Genroku's effect, you're locked into dragon monsters. Not the summoning effect of Genroku. It's the one where you tag out Genroku. You can tribute this card, special summon one Tenpai dragon from your deck except for Genroku. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of it except dragons. That particular effect locks you out of your extra deck. So if you're going to be trying to go into Hita, Promethean Princess, those are not going to be allowed. Same with SP. So you're going to be locked into only going to Hieratic Seal, and you don't want to get penalized for that for a large tournament. Well, that's all I have to say about Tenpai Dragon Genroku. If you guys enjoyed this video, smash that thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, ding that notification bell. I get it. This is the one budget meta deck that you're mainly able to play. I say budget with the quotes for now because Tenpai Dragon isn't exactly the cheapest until the 10 tin release, but this will be essentially the cheapest deck available. And I get the pre-sale prices are ridiculously high, but they're gonna drop eventually. It's just like a really, really big hype because NEWCQ is just right around the corner. But if you want to play a meta competitive deck that has the shortest amount of reach to most victories, then Tenpai Dragon is definitely that deck, but it does come with its fair share of counters in this new format. Oh, before I go, one more thing I want to add. NEWCQ is coming up. I will be there. Don't forget, the 100k giveaway is still technically live, and I will be bringing 4 boxes of, I think, Rarity Collection 2 to give away to some of you lucky subscribers. So make sure you're ready for that. You gotta find me, follow me on Twitter, something like that. Otherwise, you're gonna have a very tough time to win. And even after that, I still have 4 more boxes to give away, but these are 4 boxes I'm gonna be giving away in person. That's thanks to MSTmerch.com. Guys, check out MSTmerch.com. The summer sale is still live, of course. It's gonna go live all the way through August, but there's gonna be more incentives added because I need space, and I'm going to pass on some of the awesome deals to you guys. Gotta stay tuned, stay up to date with some upcoming videos, and that's all I have to say about this one.